Welcome back to SledgeHammer, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the amazing Joe of the Dreaming Insomniacs. Joe, how you doing today, man?
Very well. How are you?
Dude, I am doing very well. I'm very excited to finally make this happen. So people know I'm a huge fan of horror movies. I'm a huge fan of baseball, and I'm a huge fan of music. And what I want to talk about here before we talk about what the reason that you came here, the Dreaming Insomniacs, you guys have been around since 2015. You're from Boston, formed by you and Steven Spacey. And now here's the thing. Since 2015, you guys released your debut album in 2016. And on Halloween, you just released your 10th studio album entitled X. Like, what's it been like for you in the last 6 years to make 10 albums, dude? That's insane.
Yeah, it freaks me out. Like, it's just something I love to do. That, like, I mean, I almost died in 2016 in a car accident, and I wanted to put something out to be remembered by in case anything happened. So it sort of became its own. It grew a life of its own. Like it's also 3 different projects too, because it's 2 other ones. So it's a lot more than it should be, but it's also my passion. So it's like I'm not trying to downplay it, but it freaks me out too at the same time. But thank you for checking it out and doing your research. You know all that. Wow.
No, dude, what I love about this is like creating music to me is just like acting. You know, like when you're in there and you're making a studio album, it's just like you're making a movie and you're putting all this hard work in and you're grinding, and you're just hoping that once you do all this hard work and you put that album out or you put that movie out, people are going to love the art that you've made. And then when you're playing shows, it's just like theater acting. You know, you're up there on stage, you're vulnerable. You've got all these things to memorize. You've got all these things that you can't fuck up. And you got this crowd that's going to give you this instant gratification or this instant fuck you, Yeah, so
pretty much.
And the parallels. Yeah, exactly. And so the parallels between acting and musicians, the creation of art and the hard work that goes into that creation is it's so amazing, man. And like I said, to put out 10 albums in 6 years, shows your work ethic, not just you, but Steven's as well. I'm not trying to downplay anything, but it shows your guys' work ethic and your guys' creativity, man. To put out 10, there's bands that put out 10 albums, not even 10 albums over the span of their careers. And for you guys in 6 years, that shows that you creatively, intelligently, and the hard work and passion you have behind your project. So
thank you.
I do have all the links for the Dreaming Insomniacs right down here in the description, and there you can find their albums, their YouTube, all their social media, everything right down here in the description, guys. So I can't recommend it enough. I love the Dreaming Insomniacs. We were able to make this connection. I was super stoked to be able to work with you guys. So we know that the album just dropped. Do we have any plans on doing any type of shows anytime soon?
So right now we're kind of keeping that on the DL just because, it's
understood.
But something will be festering soon.
Well, the best thing about that is you guys don't have to wait for me to give you an update. Like I just said, all the links are down here in the description. So if you're following them on social media, you're subscribing to the YouTube, you'll be able to find out when they're playing shows and you can be a part of this. So, man, I got to be genuine and honest with you. I'm so excited for what you have going on in the future. And I'm so glad that you just released your 10th studio album, X. It is out right now, guys. So now I do want to go back to the past here for a little bit, Joe. And I want to talk about what got you started in the horror genre. We all love horror. That's the reason you're here. And I want to know how it started for you, my friend. I want to talk about your first horror movie. And Joe, the first horror movie that you watched was?
Oh, goodness. Scream 3.
You know what? It's funny. I just want to do a little caveat here real quick. This is the first time I've talked about this movie on this podcast, for one. The very first time I've been able to do that. And 2, I have a lot of people that talk shit on Scream 3. Is it my favorite in the franchise? Not even close.
Is it fun?
Is it a bad movie? Not even close. If you make 5, at the time of recording, we've had 5 Scream films. If Scream 3 is the worst film in your franchise, it shows why you're one of the best franchises in horror. So do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
Oh, goodness. I can tell you the whole story. You want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
So I was 6 years old, and I come from a family where my mom's side, she had 3 kids before. My dad had 3 kids before. So my mom has 2 sons and a daughter, and my dad has 3 daughters. My dad's old, so he also has a daughter from when he was like 21, but he was young, and that didn't work out. That's besides the point. It's not my business to share. But essentially my sister Jessica, my mother's daughter, was watching it, and she had it on VHS, and it was in a breezeway in my childhood home before it all fell apart. And I pretty much begged her to let me watch it, and she said no, again and again. Again, I was 6. I begged her to let
Right.
me watch it. I wanted to watch it, and finally she caved. She caved and let me do it because she just wanted me to shut up. And boy, did she regret that. I had nightmares for the next 15 years or something like that. It was bad. Not 15 years until I was 14. So what's 6 to 14? How many years is that? I don't feel like doing the math.
What is that, 8?
I know it. I just don't feel like,
What was your sister's name?
Jessica. That's my sister.
Jessica, if you ever watch this, you're amazing and I love you. Thank you
yeah.
for starting horror for somebody.
Yeah, seriously.
So Scream 3, I know that you watched it at a very young age with your sister, which is so rad to me, man.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that you watched it on VHS. I don't know if you know this about me or not, Joe, but I grew up in a video store. My parents owned a mom and pop video store. So like to me, there's nothing better than the sound of that VHS rewinding and the click when it's done, because you're ready to watch that film.
We're
Scream 3 is
we miss
fun
DVDs at this point with all the digital stuff.
I still buy everything. Everything I have is physical media, because when you're watching stuff streaming, you don't get a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that Ashley and I love to watch.
I have Scream 5 on my Xbox, and I'm missing features. I don't have a commentary.
Yeah, there's no commentary. There's no behind the scenes. There's no making ofs. I love that stuff. To me, that's so special.
Games, though, that's fine. I don't feel like I need to own a bunch of discs just to download 5 of them on my console and then delete them to then download. No, I'll have all 137 of them that I've had the account since I was 12 or 13, and just have them digital. I don't need
that's
games
totally different
on disc anymore. Right. But it used to be the same. It used to be more. It's weird how that happens. But
actually, now with video games digitally, you get more than you do with, if you do your digital pre-orders and all that, you get a lot more than you do with the physical copy anyway.
Depends on what it is and what the company's trying to do.
True.
Nowadays, like Fortnite,
all about that money, man.
Yeah.
So in Scream 3, do you remember which scene it was, Joe, that affected you the most?
I have to think about that one, because there's a few of them that I know scared the shit out of me at 6 years old, but now is stupid. Right. So it's like, okay, like when the voice changer scared me, because I didn't understand that it was technology that didn't exist. Because again, I was 6. So for me, that had this, I thought Ghostface was an alien though. That's what was conveyed to me until the reveal, is that I thought this killer was an alien and had the ability to mock people, which, I mean, doesn't that exist in another movie? So,
right.
But a movie I hadn't seen at that age, by the way, something I just thought was a cool idea that probably definitely had already been done. But essentially, that was just, the voice changer scared me, and the mask scared me, like I said, but it also intrigued me. So I was afraid of it, and it petrified me every time I saw Ghostface. But then I wore it to my preschool Halloween thing. So it's it wasn't like the Ghostface one. It was one of the smiley ones, the original Fearsome Faces or Fantastic Faces, or one of those. One of my siblings had one of them. But about 14 years old, 13, 14, I decided to watch the first Scream. And I realized that I had thought for years I'd watched the first one. No, I saw the third one. And I didn't figure that out until I realized I watched the second one next. And then I watched the third one. I was like, I reversed the order. Great. So that kind of fucked up my first go with the whole franchise. But then, I became obsessed with them, too much. I was watching them every day. So then I knew the order. And then this is around 2010. So Scream 4 was being made. It was getting ready to come out. So it was the perfect time to overcome that fear that I had instilled upon me for years and choose to love something. And it was Wes Craven's last movie. So I'm really glad that I got to see that in theaters with my stepmother on April 15th, opening night, 2011. I'll never forget. That day has other bad times on different years, but 2011, April 15th, there you go. We don't have to.
That's so cool, man. That you can even remember. I can barely remember yesterday, man. So that's so fucking cool.
I remember the stupidest shit. If you ask me what dealership I scheduled this specific customer at work yesterday for, I couldn't tell you. the specifics of the appointment, and I take around 90 to 100 calls a day on a slower day. Think about that. But I can remember that.
Yeah.
I can remember the day.
You remember the important things.
Yeah, I guess it's important to us, but I mean, overall, like life shit, is that important to remember the exact day Scream 4 came out? You know, but
that's incredible, man.
yeah. So I mean, I let it go for a bunch of years because it got bad. I was like painting my walls red like Olivia's walls in Scream 4 with acrylic paint. My stepmother was pissed, and it was bad. I just liked horror a lot, but I get it, rough childhood. You start thinking that your son's going to become some sort of fucking weirdo, but that didn't happen, obviously.
Right.
So essentially, I let it go for like 10 years, and I revisited the films, and in that I've become friends with Jamie Kennedy. It's kind of weird, just from promoting the music that you were talking about, like our, not the last album, but the one before that, Demolished, which is funny. It's a joke. It's I've recorded most of it. It's one take recordings. It was like, I got really stoned. I was like, I'm going to come up with this album.
All right, guys, so I have always prided myself on complete and total transparency, and I don't know what happened, but my Zoom just completely crashed. So we are going to go back in now, and we are going to finish this interview, but I wanted to let you know there's a weird cut here, and I'm transparent. I don't know what happened with my phone. That's why I hate doing it on a phone, but it crashed. Let's get back to seeing what Joe has to say.
So, man, we know which scene it was that affected you the most from Scream 3, but what would you say your favorite scene from Scream 3 was?
My favorite? I don't know. It really depends on what you're looking for, because like it has multiple different scenes that I find myself gut busting, laughing at for the comedy. But then like I really like the reveal. I love the reveal until Roman becomes a whiny brat. That's what I've realized upon this most recent viewing is as soon as he starts like saying you had the life I was promised, I never got that, yada yada yada, it's he just sounds like a whiny bitch. As much as I love his motive, and I think he does have the best motive out of any of the killers, which I've said before and I'll stick to that, he's still whiny. Which I get, but be a little less. You sound like a 10-year-old standing there with your plastic knife.
Right. Well, I mean, like, one good thing about Scream 3 is they definitely upped the body count in this movie. So,
that's one of my cons.
Which kill would you say is your favorite from the film?
Is there one? Do I remember any kills? I don't know. Because the whole Jennifer Jolie kill's stupid. Doesn't make sense how he wouldn't be on the other side of that glass. So there's a continuity issue right there. Tyson was just kind of cheap. It was just a rehash of Sarah Michelle Gellar's death, but not as brutal. Angelina, you don't really see shit. Yeah. I don't think I have a favorite kill in that movie. Not even
that's fair enough.
That one's stupid too. They're all stupid. The deaths are stupid. Roman, Roman dies, that's it.
There you go.
Killer.
That's perfect.
Yeah, none of the victims, the killer.
Well, I mean,
I love the movie.
Scream obviously now it's part of a bigger franchise now.
Yeah.
But in the Scream franchise, which one would you say is your favorite of the bunch?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Like out of all of them, like most favorite. I can't really decide because I go back and forth on a constant basis between 1 and 4. My least favorite's 5, personally. I know 3 is the worst one. My least favorite's 5 because of the script issues. I have a problem with that James Vanderbilt. They need to stop hiring him because he's a terrible writer. He trashed the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Those would have been a lot better if he didn't write them. And he's a Freemason, and I don't like that either. So that's besides the point. Scream 4 is probably my favorite if it wasn't so cut to shit. So it's the first one. Yeah, it's the first one.
Well, I mean, another question I have for you. We talked about your first horror movie being Scream 3 and what that means to you. But now I know he affected you when you're young. But now my little buddy Ghostface, he is here and he does have a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Joe? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Is that a question? It's on my wall. I mean, come on. Not the 5th one. I mean, that's a poster with the not the right number, but the first one.
Well, I mean, it's amazing how much
before it came out.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm old as shit. It's amazing how this movie has withstood the test of time. They're still making sequels today. And to me, it's still one of the best horror. I think it's the best horror franchise of all time when it comes to continuity, when it comes to the story, when it comes to the quality of the films. I think that Scream as a franchise is probably the best of all time. So I do want to remind everybody, all the links are down in the description, guys. So make sure that you are following along with the Dreaming Insomniacs on this wild ride that they are on. Now, before I let you go, Joe, we always end this with the same question. We're going to bounce back to Scream 3. And what we're going to do now is we're going to rank this on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking this on acting, production, score, nothing like that. What we're doing here is strictly ranking this movie on how much it affected you on first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. What would your ranking of Scream 3 be?
You said 5 skulls is the best.
Mm-hmm.
And 0 is the worst.
Yeah, I mean, like 0 means it didn't affect you at all. 5 means it really affected you.
Like,
and then anywhere.
Yeah, as a kid. Okay, can I give you 2 different answers? Because as a kid, it was different than as an adult. As a kid, for all intents and purposes, as a kid, it's 5 out of 5 skulls. But as an adult, it's probably a half a skull. It does not scare me at all. It's a funny movie. It's the comedy one. It's the Scooby-Doo one.
It really is.
But I still love it.
Really is. Man. I do too.
Let's not forget about Randy's cameo.
Yeah, I love Scream 3. I do love Scream 3. So I got to throw that out there. Man,
Carrie
I do
Fisher
again.
cameo.
Huh?
Carrie Fisher cameo. Come on.
Yes. So again, everybody, make sure you are following them on social media and on YouTube so you can stay up to date with them. Joe, don't go anywhere, man. I got a couple more questions for you. Now, everybody else, as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.